Alright, so a few days ago I was watching YouTube and a pop-up video from Fantomworks came up. And a lot of y'all know that show. It was a very informative show. It was probably the most realistic show that ever was on TV, displacing the restoration of cars and how long and somewhat the cost of and stuff of how things really were. But let's take a look at this clip here, and then we're going to talk about it.
40 to 60,000 just in materials. So do you now believe, where before you said you would have thought that that was a lot of money at 40 to 60, today, now that you have been exposed to Fantomworks and have seen what it takes to do this,
Right.
do you think that a $40,000 to $60,000 restoration truly exists?
A paint job, maybe 60,000, like a good paint job.
A fair paint
on
job.
a classic. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's about it. No.
okay, and I'll tell you, she's still a little off there because I work with a lot of high-end shops, and the general consensus is that for a truly correct restoration paint job, which is disassembly, blast, metal fab, e-coat, prime, block, seal, color, base, clear, cut, buff, and just putting all the parts back on, that starts at over $100,000. It starts at over 100.
So then I'm bringing you a car that's not even going to be worth the amount it took to fix it to begin with.
I work with a lot of high-end shops, and the general consensus is that for a truly correct restoration paint job, which is disassembly, blast, metal fab, e-coat, prime, block, seal, color, base, clear, cut, buff, and just putting all the parts back on, that starts at over $100,000. It starts at over 100.
Okay, so what basically Dan was saying was something that would scare anyone from buying a car or even owning a car and wanting to restore it themselves. Again, I have a lot of respect for the show and how they portrayed it and how realistic they portrayed it, but what was just said there is just simply not the case. $100,000 to do a high-end paint job? Now, I realize that some people's version of high-end and my version of high-end may be different, but when I think of a high-end paint job, I think about driver cars. You know, I think about the nicest 2 or 3 cars you see at a local cruise-in that they're driven in there. Like my black 70 SS last year, my 59 Chevy I'm doing right now is going to be that way. The body works just right on cue, you know, all the trims just right on. But there's a line drawn in the sand. It's not perfect, but it's high-end. It's nice. I was just pondering, and I was like, how in the world could any paint job cost over $100,000? I'm not talking about a restoration. There's a difference. If I simply took your car, and I do this for a living, of course, as always, restoration inquiries, information will be in the video description. If I took your car that runs and drives, and let's say it's original. Let's say it's like an original car. It's got 80,000 miles on it, but the paint is tired and you want to give it a facelift. And it's like a Monte Carlo, something I'm familiar with. You bring it to me and I totally disassemble it. All the trim off, all the interior out, glass out, just take it all apart, take the wires off the firewall, freshen the firewall up, even take the engine out, which is really no need, especially on a driver. But I'm just sitting here trying to ponder how long all this would take just to do a paint job. They didn't talk about metalwork in that particular clip. He said, and that is a very dangerous statement that was said, and the reason I believe it was a dangerous statement, it could actually scare a lot of people. And when you have a big following like that, you have to be careful what you say. You could hurt things for everybody. You could hurt the hobby, because a lot of people pay attention to him because he's smart and he has a well-renowned shop. But $100,000, like the lady said, 40 to 60,000 to do a good paint job. Where are they coming up with this type of money? Like, I just don't understand it. Like, we're like, even at $100 an hour right now, my current labor rate is 80. Okay, so I told one guy the other day that he's on schedule for next year, that probably worst case scenario on his car, he's looking at about 15,000 to get a nice paint job. Where, even if he decided to put a brand new engine, a brand new transmission, a brand new rear end, brand new interior, all brand new chrome, it's not $100,000. And like, this ain't gonna be a perfect car. It's gonna be a nice driver, but I'm gonna do that car just like I'm gonna do better than I do my own. So my point is, if you're just getting into this hobby, yes, things have went up. Yes, it's a lot more than it used to cost, unfortunately. And I think us as people, we have to be careful with how important we think we are, because we can get it to where it would be a shame one day that you can't own, or you can't even have a car because it's so expensive. Like, the auto restoration people are like making more money than a brain surgeon or some crazy something like that. Like, you know, and it's like only a rich man's game at that point. That would be a shame and a sad state of affairs. Unfortunately, with the way the economy is, inflation, cost of living goes up, yes, we have to reflect that. I have to chase everyone else in the game. My current fab guy just went up to $105 an hour. I can't pay him that, and if I'm only making 40, it's not going to work. Statements like that scare a lot of people off, because they think, I even looked at some of the comments and it was like, so in conclusion, the only way we can restore cars if we are a ... millionaire. No, it's not the case. I mean, even a high-end, like even a show quality Concours is just a paint job. If you're not replacing everything, I'm not, like, even at $100 an hour, I don't know where that starts at over $100,000 for just a nice paint job. What? Who are these people? I don't understand. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. May do another video or two related to this subject. I had another video that I actually haven't ever posted where I was kind of talking about a similar situation, but I haven't. This kind of covered some of that, but I may revisit that also. So anyway, no, it doesn't cost that kind of money. In conclusion, it just don't. So again, I like Fantomworks. I liked watching the show. I will say my opinion of Fantomworks, one of the things that made me kind of lose a little respect was several years back when I seen them. They was working on a 59 Cadillac, a four-door sedan. And a big car like that is complicated. You know, there's a lot of trim and whatever, but not as much as even an Impala, the trim amount of stainless. And it was something to the effect, they did an LS swap, I believe, in the car. I believe that's what it was. It was a four-door sedan, and I could tell, like, when they showed the camera shot down the side, it was like all orange peel. It wasn't even color sanded and buff, or very little. And it was like 2,000 something hours to do basically a stock restoration with an LS swap on a Cadillac. And I'm like, where did that time come from? If you don't know what you're doing, outsource this stuff. There's no, like, your in-house people obviously didn't know what they were doing. So, like, that was the biggest head scratcher for me on Fantomworks, was that particular car. because I just tried to sit here and comprehend how much time that took. So it's like, for me, doing this for a living and knowing how long stuff really takes, it made me believe they wasn't making proper use of their time. That's just my opinion. And again, I don't know anyone personally who's worked there or had a car restored there or anything. I just know that even on TV, a lot of their quotes or a lot of what they portrayed that it costed was obscene, to say the least. And back at that time, 5, 6, 7 years ago, they were charging something, I want to say around $70 an hour. I don't know what they're charging now, but just take that for what it's worth. I don't understand. I never understood that. And now owning a 59 Caddy myself, I just had some interior, and there's no way. I mean, these old GM cars are not that complicated. How could it take 2,200 hours plus parts and materials? And I did the math. 100 hours at $70 an hour at that time was $7,000. Do the math. They had like $200,000 in a 4-door post, or a 4-door 6-window sedan 59 Caddy with an LS swap. In my opinion, it was an embarrassment for their business. You were showing America that it took you 2,200 hours to do this. That something that should have been done realistically in less than 1,000 hours. Honestly, less than that. But anyway, so with that being said, thanks for watching. If you have restoration inquiries, I always take new appointments. Thank you all for your business, and I've gotten a lot. This channel's grown well. Most of all, thank the Lord for what He's done and blessed me and all, but I thank you out there for Him sending y'all my way and let me do what I enjoy doing for a living. So it's getting close to Christmas 2023. This year has been a wild one, but we're looking forward to 2024 and what it has in store. See you next time.